you can come in.
Dr. Haggard. Hi.
Hi, Mr. Graves. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Good. So, what brought you here today?
Well, I have been trying to lose a little bit of weight. I've been, 10 or so pounds. I'm not great with the estimate, but, I'm carrying around a little more than I'd like to, and I can't totally seem to do much about it. I've been trying for a while. Exercise isn't really doing the job, apparently, so I thought I would get a little bit of a more expert opinion on that. I saw in the email you wanted me to bring a little recall, get 24 hours of just what I've been eating, getting all of that info to give you sort of gist, I guess, of what I'm doing.
Okay.
I don't know necessarily, what I should be changing about any of this. It looks fairly straightforward, but I don't know.
Absolutely. So in this session today, we're gonna start with talking about your 24-hour recall. Thank you for bringing it with you.
Sure.
And then we're going to just talk about like the food frequency, so like how many times you eat certain things. And then we'll just kind of take a glance at so you want to lose weight, so I'll give you some handouts that you can look at, and we'll go over some goals that we can, hopefully start to put together, and then we'll set up for another appointment. How's that sound?
Sounds great.
Okay, so starting with your recall, what was the first meal you had yesterday?
I got up at 8:30. I had some coffee, a little cream, a little sugar. I had a bagel, a sesame bagel with just some cream cheese. It's not great, obviously, but it's easy, simple in the morning, right?
Definitely. So, how much cream cheese did you have on your bagel?
I don't know. I had
We also have
two spoonfuls, I guess. I don't know. What do we got here? Two of these jobbies.
Okay.
I filled up the knife twice. If you remember that, that sounds about right.
Okay.
But yeah, I would guess, 2 tablespoons, something like that. Is that close? But
That's perfectly fine. And so you said you had cream and sugar in your coffee. So how much sugar did you have in your coffee?
I guess I think it was 2 or 3 spoonfuls. Say 2 spoonfuls of coffee. It's a small spoon.
Okay.
Yeah.
And how about the type of cream that you had and how much you had of it?
I think it was Hood half and half, so just the standard stuff filled about, 2 of the little containers again. Is each one a tablespoon, I think, so 2 tablespoons of that. Yeah.
Okay. And that's all you had for your first meal yesterday?
For breakfast, that was it, yeah.
Okay. Did you have any snack following that?
Yeah, I ate something at work. I had, I don't know, a little bag of pretzels, little things we get in the vending machine. They're 2 ounces, a little bit under, something like that. I had a decent glass of orange juice over there, break room. And that was it before lunch. So.
Okay. So what did you have for lunch?
What did I have here? I went, I went out to Taco Bell.
Okay.
That afternoon we had some guys. It was easier to kind of just run out. The break room's a mess, so I don't like to do much there. And I had a little handful of tortilla chips. I had some salsa. We had some guacamole with a little burrito, and I had a lemonade.
A lemonade.
Yeah.
Okay. And how much would you say was in the burrito?
How much was in it? It was, I don't know, it fills 2 hands, I guess. It's a classic burrito. I'm not really sure what their sizes are there.
That's true. Okay, and so you had lemonade. So how big would you say the lemonade was?
It's about, it was yay tall. What's a regular water bottle nowadays? Is that 12 ounces? That sounds right. So just regular sort of bottled.
Okay.
For that Minute Maid.
And then you said you had guacamole with it?
Yeah. I mean, yeah, one of the little, serving guys. What do we got here? It's probably one of these, I guess.
Okay.
Just about that. So what is that? Yeah, quarter cup, I guess, of that.
And did you have another meal following that?
Yeah, I had a little bit before I went home from work. Around 2:30, 3 o'clock. I had a granola bar. I think it was Chewy was the brand on that one. palm full of trail mix and a little bit of water. That's simple stuff.
What was in the trail mix?
It was M&M's, peanuts, raisins, kind of classic stuff. Yeah, nothing, not like the healthiest trail mix you ever saw, but it was quick calories. It was a little bit of sugar, keep me from drinking too much coffee in the afternoon. Just a little, pick me up as it goes.
And did you have a meal after that?
Yeah, I had dinner that night at my place. I had a little, a little like 4-5 ounce thing, a little pork chop. I had a, full piece of corn, thrown that on the cob, and I had a thing of mashed potatoes with that. I was like a little, pump. I guess why don't I use these here? That's what they're here for, right?
Yes, definitely.
It was a good sized dollop. It was probably a cup, I guess, of that. And I had a glass of milk with that. I guess I forgot about that in here. Yeah. And I think it was 2%. I think is what I do.
2%?
Yeah.
Okay.
That
And
was about it.
did you have anything like with the potatoes, like any add-ons, or for the corn on the cob?
I put some butter on that. I guess now that you mentioned that, I put a little bit in the mashed potatoes too. So a little, whatever pat of those things is. It's like a little tablespoon. I think is about the size. Sounds about right.
And did you have any snacks before going to bed last night?
Yeah, I had a little thing of ice cream. Not a lot, about a cup, I guess. Again, I've seen worse. I've seen better. I thought it was all right, for that time of night.
That's fine.
Yeah.
Okay, so now we're going to go over your food frequency. So I'm just going to ask you questions about certain food items, and you let me know like how often you have them. So like if you have them daily, if you have them multiple times a day, if you have them like just once a week or once a month.
Okay.
So for instance, like milk. How often would you say that you have milk?
I have milk pretty often. I have some with cereal most days. I have a glass for the calcium, things like that, in the afternoon. Probably 2 glasses a day. Probably not much more than that, but yeah.
Do you have any like, so is it always 1% or do you do like different types of milk?
I buy 2%.
2%?
Yeah.
Okay. And what about the types of vegetables you have? So you mentioned that yesterday you had corn and you had a little bit of guacamole, which has got avocado in it.
Sure.
So
I'm lighter on vegetables.
you're
than I'd
lighter
like
on
to be.
vegetables?
I usually have some with dinner. I don't have like a big bowl of anything on the side. I'm not a big salad guy in general, I guess. Probably get 2 servings a day, something like that. A little something with lunch. Slightly bigger something with dinner, but nothing too much.
And what about fruit? You mentioned fruit juice, but do you ever just have any raw fruit?
Not usually. It's not always easy to have around. I buy fruit drinks a lot, so I get the vitamins, I guess, from that. But I don't really just grab an apple on the go or anything like that very often, though.
And so the type of bread, or I mean, from what I could tell, you only had like a sesame bagel, and then you had the burrito, which comes with tortilla bread. Do you normally you said normally you have a cereal?
Yeah, usually in the morning I do that. Well, I have some starch, like some fries or something like that with dinner. I try to keep it a little bit light, but I probably have with at least 1 or 2 meals a day.
Okay.
Not having like big, bowls of pasta, but I'm having carbs every day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what about like convenience food or fast food? So you said yesterday you had Taco Bell. How often does that happen?
Yeah, it's like right next to my work, so a couple of us go out 3-4 times a week probably, get that stuff. But we don't get the big meals there. We'll get get a burrito. It's mostly beef. It's less pasta. You get it like an Italian sort of eatery kind of thing. It's not like a huge hefty thing of breads and stuff. So I think it's in general it's more protein than anything else, right? So it's not awful, but we're not getting like Big Macs every day. But I'm usually getting something along the lines of sort of fast food at least 3 times a week.
And what about coffee or any tea? So you mentioned that you had one coffee in the morning. Is it just like you just standard have one coffee in the morning, or?
I'm pretty good about coffee. Yeah, I do it in the morning because it seems like I need something for that. I usually get a little bit of sugar in the afternoon more than just loading up on more and more coffee. So that one's fairly light as it goes.
Okay, so since we've talked about those, is there any changes that you've noticed, like while you're reflecting about it, that you think that you could be able to change? Like, so you want to lose weight. Are there any changes that you've already noticed maybe in your diet just by looking at one day?
Kind of lots of fats and carbs and all that stuff, but I think I'm sure there's something else I can do aside from what I'm doing right now. I don't know. I don't know if there's any sort of literature or whatever that's like it'll sort of help me gauge kind of what I'm looking for.
Well, absolutely. So the USDA has something called My Plate, choosemyplate.gov. So it used to be food pyramid, now it's My Plate. And so it just kind of shows you how many what your plate should look like at each meal. So
it's like a specialized pyramid, like for me. What is the?
Yeah, they actually do have that.
Okay.
The following page has got stuff about your age group, and you can look at that. I've got some tips here about weight loss.
Okay.
So you can take these home with you.
All right.
Another thing. You didn't really mention much cooking, but we also have some cooking tips here too.
Oh.
There's actually certain ways that you can cook food so that it's less fatty, so you can use different oils and stuff. Because from what I'm gathering from what you had told me is that you tend to have a lot more, we call them saturated fats, they're like animal product fats.
Like butter, things like just anything that we're gonna kind of fry with or do any of those baking things. I use a lot of that. That's fair enough.
But we can also next time we can come up with some great, quick and easy recipes, so you don't have to turn to Taco Bell. Maybe you can even get your guys from work to help you out with cooking or something. And also, I know the food labels can be very difficult to read sometimes, so this is like an outline of how to read a food label.
Okay, that's probably really helpful. My eyes kind of gloss over when I see all the kind of 4-syllable kind of words going on for a full paragraph. I'm like, I'm not going to get anything out of that.
No, absolutely.
All right.
So you can look at those, and when we come back next time, we can discuss those. But before I finish this session, let's just come up with a couple of goals that we want to do. Put together. So they don't have to be big goals. So you want to go in the direction of losing weight.
Yeah.
So what are some changes that you could make?
What are some sort of first impressions on that? What are the big things I got to change?
I've noticed that you have a lot of, so you're intaking a lot of protein, which I understand if you're trying to, maybe build up some muscle.
Yeah.
But you're having your body do multiple things at once, trying to build up muscle but also lose weight. So it's better to just focus on one thing. If you want to lose weight right now, maybe eat a little less protein.
Really? Okay.
Because you're eating more than somebody in your range would eat daily. Like your recommended daily amount is higher than it should be.
Oh, all right. I don't know. All right, that's fair enough.
So we could also switch some of the protein choices too.
Yeah.
So we could, instead of doing the beef,
right,
you could switch it with maybe some leaner, like chicken, turkey.
Sure. How much should I be eating for that? So should I have just a kind of a decent sized handful or whatever of that a day or something like that, or how much necessarily is enough to kind of keep me going? See, I feel like I've tried making a few changes and it's just not doing enough. I don't know, so I was sort of hoping to bring in the experts for it. So I don't know if there's something kind of on the more obvious end of things that I just wouldn't know to change. Is there anything you think I should be adding, eating less of? What seems like, what are the, I don't really know what ratios of things I need to have. I guess I'm kind of winging it. I know you need some starch, you need some protein, you need some vegetables. Try not to have too much salt or whatever, but I don't know really what I'm working with.
So you mentioned before when you were talking about your food frequency that you only have 2 servings of vegetables, but you also mentioned that you think you need more as well.
Probably, yeah.
So have you ever thought about, adding in more vegetables before in your diet?
Just like having an extra salad or something like that.
It doesn't have to be
Dinner, stuff like
salad.
that,
There's a whole different range of vegetables that you can have. There's the whole rainbow. And even My Plate has great resources. They can tell you different serving sizes on there. As well. Start adding in just 1 new vegetable. There's a ton of programs, or like a ton of local farmers markets around here too, that you can go and find some great new vegetables. You can ask them how to cook it, try new recipes.
Okay. That's really the biggest problem. I don't know how to cook with them. So that's a really good idea. I should look into that. Okay, cool. All right, so veggies.
So veggies.
I'm on it. Yeah.
Okay, perfect.
All right.
It's just the only issue is that you're already having so much of these saturated fats from animal products. So I'm wondering if we could, maybe replace one of your fat sources with something that's a little bit healthier, more like plant-based. So we're adding some vegetables in. What about maybe replacing? Have you ever thought about trying maybe like a plant-based milk before?
Maybe it's milk. No, I actually hadn't even heard of that. No, that's are they good? I guess this doesn't sound great.
They've actually become really popular, and they're actually a really good source of protein.
Is there like a particular veggie I should be looking out for? Like I tried like almond milk, I tried things like that. It's a little bit, the taste is a little weird for me. I'd imagine anything kind of like made of an actual vegetable would have a kind of a similar rough quality to it. Is there a specific sort of like, I can't even think of what people would use for a vegetable. Like what can they make milk out of nowadays?
It sounds kind of strange, but sometimes they make them out of nuts.
Sure.
I've had other clients say that they really like the macadamia nut milk, that they say it's very, very similar to regular milk. It's very creamy, and you get some better fats in it. So there's like this common misconception that, all fats are evil and, all that. But actually some of these fats are really good for you and can help, keep your body in tune and help lower your risk for heart disease.
Okay. Something to think about, I guess. Sure. I can try it out. Sure. Why not? All right, so more veggies, less kind of animal product of that. I can still have some meat a day. I imagine you do. I'm not
No, definitely. Of course you can. Yes. Yes, because you can also get what we call, so animal or meats are a complete source of all your amino acids, which are very important.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah. So that's fine.
Sure.
Let me just see what else notes I took down. So
if I have like a burger a couple times a week, that'll be fine. If I'm not fast food, but if I make them myself, that'll be
definitely,
okay.
yeah.
Okay, cool.
And now you have like the knowledge of you have the nutrition labels right there, so you can kind of learn how to read everything.
Okay.
And there's also like this interesting kind of game. I usually play it with like the younger clients or whatever, but it's called Farm versus Factory. So if you can understand the first 5 ingredients on your ingredients list, you know that came from a farm. If you can't understand it because it's all these long, complex words, as you said before, you know it came from a factory. So you can
that makes sense.
You can feel better about putting more natural foods in your body.
Sure, I guess that's fair. Yeah. All right. So I guess I can start looking at that for sure. Yeah. And that'll be. Is that just because there'll be like too many preservatives, or what's the issue with factories? I guess is it just you're not gonna have the right amounts of stuff in there? I guess.
I mean, like, okay, for instance, like when you have like refined bread, what they mean by refined is that they take, the grain and they take out like the shell of it and they get rid of the nutrients and then it makes it white bread. So like Wonder Bread.
I didn't know that's what they did. Okay.
Yeah.
They sort of just take the useful part and just keep the calories.
Yeah.
All right.
But they do add back in stuff.
Yeah.
So
they'll sometimes even add in things that weren't in there in the first place.
Okay.
So it's an interesting concept, but it's becoming more popular now that people just kind of have like very basic, simple foods and
Sure.
try and avoid the factory-based foods. But
Okay.
of course, it's completely up to you.
All right. So yeah, I guess that sounds fine. I can manage most of those. 6 cups of veggies is a lot. I might be able to. I might have to work my way up to that one. But
No,
the
definitely.
rest
I
seem
think-
manageable. That should be okay.
And, that doesn't have to be a goal right away. You can
Yeah.
easily just make, baby steps towards it.
And doing the rest should be, better than that, right? So it's still, progress.
Definitely,
along.
yeah.
Okay.
And you might even find some really interesting new ingredients and, might actually really enjoy cooking.
Okay. Yeah, I'll look into it for sure. All right, cool. All right, I think I got some decent tips and tricks. This should be enough to get me on my way. Is there anything else you think I should be keeping in mind before I go?
No, I think that looks good.
All right, cool. When do you want to see me next? How